Hi. God, it's not Halloween anymore. Get him out of here. So, hi, how are you? Sorry if it's really bright. Today's a story time for all of you. It still looks so bright. Does that look any different? Get your cup of tea. I have hot tea today. I know, shocking. Don't be alarmed. I've got my cold tea too. The amount of tea I drink, you'd think I was British. Okay, my story times are always a mess, so we're just gonna jump right into it. So I have, over the past little bit of time, been working at a seasonal spooky store just for the sake of fun times. It ended up being incredibly chaotic. So I was there for only a short period of time because it is seasonal. I wasn't even there for the whole season. I was just there for a really short period of time. But there was one day in particular where just the strangest thing happened. If you have ever worked at or been in one of these seasonal spooky stores, you will notice that it's always in the shell of a recently deceased store. And something that you may or may not know is the walls in this spooky store are actually not really walls. They are more of like a plywood with little holes in it, so it's like a peggable board. But on the other side of that is literally the shell of the rest of the store. So like the back room area is massive. So I'm in the back corner and I'm hanging up hats or whatever, you know, the rest of the shipment that needs to go out. And while I'm doing it, I'm kind of just by myself, minding my own business. It's a slow day, not a lot of people. And then suddenly I hear an alarm going off. And at first I thought it was kind of the fire alarm, but then I actually recognized the noise as like a back door alarm. And I was thinking, oh, okay, maybe someone just set it off, you know, it's not a big deal. But the longer I'm sitting there just hanging things up and doing my work, I realized that nobody's attending to this. So I start walking up to the front where all of the registers and whatnot are. All of the rest of the staff is up there. I was the only one over there by myself. As I'm walking up, I hear commotion and all of my staff starts like running to this section of the store. So behind the register, there is a wall that we have built, and it's actually just boxes stacked on top of each other with like a wallpaper. So that way it looks like an actual wall, but it's just boxes. And the boxes just fell. On the side of the register, they all just took a tumble, tipped over, and this is all happening while I'm walking up, and I go up to one of the associates and I'm like, hey, what's happening? And he says that a woman was on the other side of our wall and fell through the boxes and then took off running. Now my other associates say that this woman was heavily under the influence of some sort of something. Drugs maybe, or something. She was definitely not acting like she was in the most sound state of mind, I'll just say. So I asked the other associate, I'm like, hey, so does this have something to do with the alarm that's going off? You can't even hear it at the register, by the way. It's such a distance that you wouldn't even be able to hear it. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, well, let's go check it out. Let me go show you. So we go in the back. There are two entrances to the back room. There's one at the front, and it's just like a few boxes that you just push. It's like a slidey door that we've made. And then in the back, there's also just this curtain, but we stacked up somewhat of a fixture barricade so nobody can get through. We walk back over to where the curtain back door is, and the fixtures and boxes have been pushed over. Someone has been in our back room, which automatically just feels like a violation because that's our space. The further we got into the back room, the more you could hear the alarm going off. And you know, thinking that someone might still be back there with who knows what kind of intentions, with them not being in the sound state of mind, we picked up weapons. He has a big piece of wood and I had a mage's staff. It was heavy. It had some weight to it. We're walking towards the back door that is blaring, and this back door is nowhere near an area that we should be. Like, this is the old sports store's stock room, and like, we have no access to this. There's no reason why anybody should be over here. We get to the back door, there's a stock room on our left, so we're like sneaking in with our weapons and we're looking around. Nothing. Okay, there's nothing there. But we walk a little bit further down the hall and the back door is open. Okay, terrifying. So me, being brave and somewhat of an idiot, I stick my head out the door and I'm looking around. I don't see anything. So I go to shut the door back up, but there's no handle. On the inside or the outside, there's no handle, so I can't even pull it shut. We can't get it to latch. It's just sitting there like this, so if you even just touch it, it's gonna open back up. So now what do? We end up telling the assistant manager on duty, and she calls the district manager, who says she has to call the regional manager because she doesn't have access to the building. Regional manager's on his way, takes him about 20 minutes. Okay, so we're trying to figure out what to do, and we can't just leave this door unattended. So I'm like, you know what, dude? You're gonna have to stay and guard the door. Make sure nobody comes in. You've got your wood. I'm gonna get you a walkie-talkie. If anything happens, friends call me. You know, he's a brave lad and he can handle it. So, you know, of course we're freaked out. So I end up going back to the front register and the original associate who I was talking to asked what's happening. So I'm telling him the situation, that there was a woman in the walls. So he's like, I need to see what's happening. I need to go see this for myself. So me and this dude, he's like 6 feet tall, he's broad, he's like built like a football player. I feel a lot safer now that I'm with this big dude. So we go walking back to talk to the associate who was guarding the door. I pointed out that in the room next to the door going off, there is a panel missing from the ceiling and there's a chair under it. Nobody noticed it but me. What if she's in the ceiling? And that freaked everybody out. So this hallway that we're at is so far back. Like, it's wrapped around the corner and everything. So me and the tall dude, we decide to go finish walking the hall, which is actually behind the wall of the register and whatnot, where the woman was. Also, why was she back there? Why was this woman in our walls? Everything's fine. The box wall has been rebuilt. We walk back to the associate standing guard. We're just standing there talking. We're all a little nervous and paranoid. And as we're sitting there talking, the door that we're guarding, the back door opens. Let me tell you the fear on all of our faces when that back door opened. The big dude, he starts like running and hides behind a wall. I see the big dude running, so I'm like, okay, I gotta book it. I start running the other direction, and then the dude that was guarding the door, he's standing there with his wood about to swing. Oh my god. He's about to swing. You know, hands shaking, adrenaline's going. And out from around the corner walks the regional manager. We almost killed our boss. Our boss's boss's boss. He comes out around the corner with his hands up and he's like, I fixed your door. It was hilarious. It was so funny. We were laughing so hard. So I was talking to the big dude after the whole thing, and apparently she was getting handsy with him before the wall incident. Like, she was talking to him and was like putting her hands on his chest so he'd like back up, and then she'd come up behind him and put her hands on his back. And then after the whole incident, we had to just finish our day. Like, everything was fine. It was a weird experience. Anyway, and that's my story time of how there was a woman in the walls of the spooky seasonal store I worked at. I was only there for a week. I hope you all had a very wonderful spooky season. Give this video a big thumbs up and hit subscribe if you want to see more of me. You can also go follow my Instagram to keep up to date with me between uploads. All my links are down below in the description. My throat keeps growling. And I will catch all of you guys in the next video. Peace out. Bye. It's no longer spooky season, but watch out for women in your walls.